My favorite ghost story happens to do with Gettysburg College, mainly because I knew the people that were involved. The largest building out there is called Pennsylvania Hall, Old Dorm. It was the largest building there at the time of the battle. Before the battle took place, all the surgeons would come through town and basically commandeer the largest buildings in town, mainly because they knew they were going to need them for hospitals very shortly. And sure enough, shortly after the battle started, that building started filling up with wounded. The lower floors were used as the operating rooms, upper floors were used for recovery, and the outdoors was basically used for a burial ground. Fast forward now to the 1980s. It's now and was then the administration building for Gettysburg College. Administrators worked there day and sometimes into the night. Two women that I knew were working late one night, and it was about 11 o'clock, and they decided, that's it, we've given our all for Gettysburg College, we're going home. So they got on the elevator on the top floor and started press the buttons for the first floor where the exits are. And the elevator goes 3, 2, 1 past the first floor down towards the basement. And they're like, oh boy, it's malfunctioning again. We've heard about this. So they're punching 1, but the elevator settled in the basement. The doors opened to a scene out of time and reason. They looked out the elevator and saw a hospital, a Civil War era hospital, all set up in front of them. Wounded men in the corners of the room, filled with all these wounded men. A surgeon standing in the middle of the room with a makeshift table and a soldier on it. He had a saw. The surgeon had a saw in his hand. The soldier was about to have his arm or leg amputated. The women were panicking. They're pressing the button, trying to get in, and the elevator won't move. A young man in a surgeon's outfit came around the corner and stared at him. He wasn't 3 feet from him. And they said he was pleading with his eyes, please, either get me out of this, let me join you there, or come out here and help me with this never-ending task. Slowly, the doors closed. The elevator went up. And they went out immediately to the security man that was on duty that night and told him what happened. I interviewed him, and he said they were scared to death. They were so sincere. So we went over there, and I'm thinking, great, I'm going to get a pesky fraternity that messed that place up so badly 5 minutes ago that we can, I can really throw the book at them. They got on the elevator. It went down, doors open, and the area was pristine, clean, whitewashed. All the electrical equipment, the boxes and everything were on a wall that had been built in the 1960s right there in front of 10 feet from the elevator. No explanation for that. Fast forward again to the maybe 2000, I'm doing an autographing session at Gettysburg College, and a couple comes in and they said, we know that woman that happened to. And so I mentioned the names of the 2 women that I knew, and they said no. They mentioned a third name, and they said she was working not for the college, but for an accounting firm auditing Gettysburg College. They asked her to go down to the parking area, to the cars, and get some paperwork. She got on the elevator, had the same experience. I called her up and interviewed her. And she basically verbatim repeated the same experience the 2 women had before she moved to Denver, not because of this, I don't think, but she told me the same story. So that's at least 3 people who have had that experience at Gettysburg College, Pennsylvania Hall.
Is that in your book?
That story is in my book, and my very first book is a very small story, short story, but later on then I did in one of my later books, I had to do a chapter called Deja Vu, because a lot of the stories that I heard 15, 20 years ago are happening again. They're happening to different people, same venue, same site, same stories. and the people that are in those venues are not familiar with the stories that happened before.
The cycle of the paranormal is on loop.